Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to Hollywood Backlot with Lou and you. My name is VashSky. I'm going to be your host today, and the one, the only, the LW Ghost is with me today to talk about all of what is going on with Hollywood currently and previously. Lou, how are you doing today, sir?
Previous was better than current. That's all I've got to say.
Yeah, I think everybody agrees on that point right there. I do apologize, guys. It looks like I don't know what StreamYard is doing to me. I swear, I set this live stream up correctly, and now it's saying, oh, it's this time that is not the actual time right there. Look, guys, it is 11 p.m. Eastern. I swear I set this to 8 p.m. Tonight because you had to, you had to do the calculation for California time. I don't know what's going on right there. Usually,
I blame Gavin Newsom. Anything that screws up calculation for California, it's a safe bet he's behind it somewhere.
That's true, right there. We'll go ahead and we'll go with the with the same blame game right there because for once in my life, it wasn't my fault. I swear. But who is at fault right now for throwing their hats into the ring of the Warner Brothers Discovery sale? Well, that's going to be Paramount, and specifically David Ellison. Here we go from The Wrap, as reposted on MSN, I guess. Okay. Paramount raises Warner Brothers Discovery bid breakup fee to $5 billion. This is by Lucas Manfredi, I do believe. Paramount has raised its proposed...
Vash.
Yeah.
When you say a number like $5 billion, you're supposed to put your pinky in your mouth and do Dr. Evil.
$5 billion.
There you go. That's what you're supposed to do.
Nice. Paramount has raised its proposed breakup fee in its bid to acquire all of Warner Bros. Discovery for $2.1 billion to $5 billion, according to Bloomberg. The breakup fee would be paid to Warner Brothers in the event that the two companies agree to a deal that is ultimately not consummated. Now, representatives for Paramount and Warner Bros. Discovery declined to comment. This move comes as the media giant's latest bid is an all-cash offer primarily backed by the Ellison family. It also includes contributions from 3 Middle Eastern sovereign wealth funds, as well as debt financing from Apollo Global Management. Indeed, there were talks and allegations that that Saudi Arabia or some other Middle Eastern country might be getting involved right here. It looks to be true, as the current reporting from both Deadline and Variety on this subject.
If Deadline and Variety said it, it must be true. Ha ha ho ho.
Well, I'm not saying that's like the end all be all, but they seem to be sticking with this point. And I think I was talking to Marvin about it, and he's like, "Yeah, it looks like that'd be true." So hey, can you believe everything on the internet? No, that's absolutely for sure. But there seems to be smoke there, at least initially. Now, this is interesting because now
is this
Paramount's
black smoke or white smoke coming out of the chimney in Saudi?
Yeah, exactly. If it's if it's black smoke,
I'm just wondering.
Yeah, does that mean winter stays for another 5 weeks? I don't know how that all works right there. But not only is Paramount going with an all-cash bid, but also Netflix seems to be joining this as well right here. Lou, we're sticking with pretty much that Paramount Skydance is going to be able to finish this off, but has the paradigm changed in any way in your mind?
No.
Well, that's
the short answer. The long answer is that Paramount's going to buy it. And these other companies, as I've said before, they had to get in the running in order to be let in on the inside financial data, so they knew what they might want to pay for the bits and pieces that Paramount spins off. Because unless you're officially a bidder, you don't get that inside information. You don't have the guarantee of confidentiality, as they say. So
right. This is very, very interesting right here because we have talked about the dynamics surrounding all this before and how David Zaslav wants to go ahead, and I think he's looking to spin either the Discovery assets or maybe like the TV linear assets off into its own separate thing, and then have the streaming and the studio side of the business be completely split off. And it's the Elsons are saying no.
Just Vash, in the best of all possible worlds.
Mm-hmm.
if you were Ellison and you wanted to buy this whole thing, would you let the guy you're buying it from decide what gets spin off?
Well, yeah, that's true, I suppose, right? So if you're a buyer, you would want to have,
you want to buy it all and you make your decision. You don't want this guy to make a decision before you. So this is all just, once upon a time, how these things went down was relatively confidential and relatively behind the scenes, and was between the companies, the regulators, and their stockholders. But now the whole movie business has had happen to it what happened to, well, my best analogy is when the TV Food Network made cooking into a sport. Okay? It's become stuff for public nonsense, but it doesn't make it any different behind the scenes.
Yeah, well, that's a fair point. I mean, look, I do kind of agree with you, especially by looking at how this is all developed right here. It does seem that the Ellisons are the most interested party, and they're willing to do what it takes to get this deal done in a way that I don't think Netflix and nor Comcast are as committed to. Although I will say Comcast has come back to the table. I think they're looking at like a partial stock / cash bid for
like they did with Fox to drive Big Bob crazy and then walked away.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So it's like, are they doing the same thing now? They could be. It's very possible. But I think it's very, very interesting to see how this whole thing has developed right here, and who the interested parties are, and what are they interested in. We know that Netflix and Comcast are like, hey, listen, we'll just take the streaming and studio side of the business. You go ahead and keep linear and all of that. But Paramount is the only one saying, hey, we want the whole enchilada, so to speak, right? And so,
Which doesn't mean they'll keep the whole enchilada. It means they'll decide their own future. They have, I guarantee you, a plan as far as what they want to do with the bits and pieces that they don't
absolutely
want to keep. So this idea that they're going to say, oh, that careful plan we made before we ever got into this? Yeah, we'll let Zaslav decide. Yeah, we'll let Netflix decide. Absolutely, because we have no power in this thing other than the power, which is, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, in any business you're in any deal you're in any property purchase you're in any kind of negotiation, let me tell you who holds the leading hand. The person who's willing to walk away.
Very, very good.
That has been my experience of every negotiation I've ever been inside of, and I've been inside a few.
Yeah, I know you have from
if you're willing to walk away, you have all the power in the world. If you're not, like this putz over there on the right, you have none.
Well, I will say, Zaslav has walked away, I think, 3 other times now. So I suppose
he's dealing a weak hand. He knows it's going to happen one way or the other. He'd like it to happen in a way that makes him continue to be rich and powerful. He might have to just settle for rich, because the whole company, as much as I can admire, and I do, the efforts he's made while at the top to pay off debt and to cut expenses and to try and make this company more sensible than it was before he came in, he's still the guy going to other people hat in hand saying, please buy me. So how much for? Exactly how? What's the deal? Well, that remains to be seen. But he's the guy who can't walk away because he's got to do something.
Very true.
If they had the power to stand on their own but said, oh, by the way, we might be interested, this wouldn't be the situation. He knows that what's inside that water tower is not the Animaniacs, but just water.
Exactly. That's true. And that's the thing, too. Like, even though Zaslav might want a very amazing offer for himself, at the end of the day, the board has to approve it.
Or the stockholders have to say, well, we like it, even if you don't, and sell their stock.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yep. So there's a lot of power amongst the various players, and there's a lot at stake right here, especially for the entertainment industry at large. And this is why we keep covering the story, because it will have so many implications for everything down the line that it's very important to keep up to date on all things Warner Brothers Discovery. But, Warner Brothers Discovery isn't the only thing trying to sell when it comes to a product of theirs. Disney also is trying to sell a product of theirs. I'm not talking about Zootopia that just came out to, what, $500 million at the box office? Whoa, that's crazy. No, I'm talking about Avatar, specifically Avatar Fire and Ash. The premiere just recently took place, and I believe the press was involved, and people are saying, it is amazing, it's remarkable, it's pushing technological
and that's why the guy who created
ways.
it is saying, well, if it doesn't do well, I'll just write a book to tie up the loose ends and walk away, right? Because it's so wonderful and marvelous and has such a future. Give me
That's a good point. That's a good point right there. From what I gather, though, people were genuinely impressed with what they actually saw. In fact, I think James Cameron said that Bob Iger actually himself really enjoyed it and actually pushed back against people, other executives who had seen it, had notes of their own.
Did he watch it 4 or 5 times at least, like his habit has been?
Yeah, you would think so, Lou. I didn't hear that.
I don't know. It's not really his. It's something they got as part of their Fox deal, but it's not really his movie.
Not really his movie.
And the size of these Avatar lands at the various parks are shrinking.
They are. They're getting a little bit less ambitious as time moves along here. That's going to be very interesting to see how much they are committed to this Avatar bit, especially after this, makes its way in the box office. Because that's the thing, Lou. They've released concept art. We know that changes. Invariably.
Concept art from Disney. I'm so excited.
Exactly, right. But they haven't committed to anything. It's not like they're ripping up Hollywood Backlot as we speak to get Avatar into DCA. They haven't been doing that. They seem to be waiting on this, which I find very interesting.
What they're ripping up is to build Avengers, Kuka, Fran, and Ollie.
Well, and here's the thing too, Lou. It looks like the projections for this are actually lower than they were for The Way of Water. You can see right here.
What a surprise!
On track 110, right? That was from Anthony D'Alessandro from Deadline on November 26, 2025. But to juxtapose that against the opening box office for Avatar, The Way of Water, the previous iteration in this franchise, well, that was December 18th, 2020, and that was at $134 million. And tickets have only gone up from that point. So it's like, wow, this is looking to generate.
The price goes up, but the numbers go down. How does that happen? I guess it means they sell less of them, huh?
Indeed. Let's talk about that in just a moment right here. But Sark the State coming in here with the $50. Holy smokes. Woo. Howdy, fellas in chat. Growing TPP. Indeed. We're growing so fast. We had to actually move the shows and move to a later time right here in order to accommodate everything that's going on.
We should say something about that, because somebody in the chat, I think a couple people said, my God, we're watching this show and it's dark outside. What the hell's going on? Well, what's going on is that not necessarily for my choice, and certainly Vash as a cog in the massive T3PO and Pro machine, it's because everybody figures if we have the lead-in of the Pro show tonight, we will get more people paying attention to this. Not that we weren't getting oodles anyway. So hence we adapt, we survive, we move forward. But we love you whether it's Sunday or it's Wednesday or whatever day it is.
Absolutely, and hopefully people like this this differing time. I understand that for some people it's like it's a little bit too late, but hopefully people will kind of come around and recognize the genius of actually having the show at this time, then not right there. But Snarky, thank you so much. Absolutely love your support.
I saw a couple people in the chat saying, "My God, what time is it? It's time for my Ovaltine." And I thought, ooh, Ovaltine. I am so suggestible. I'll be reading a book and they talk about pizza and suddenly I want pizza. I'll be reading a book and they talk about whatever it is and suddenly it's like, that's what I'm going to order next is pastrami. Not because I really needed it or wanted it, but because I'm just so impressionable. I'm an impressionable youth at my old age. So yeah, all contributions to my Patreon will be donated to the wonderful world of Ovaltine. Now,
Fantastic stuff. Well, I know you're very impressionable, Lou, and it's one of the reasons why I love you. Marcus, thank you so much.
One of? What are the other ones? I want a whole list.
No, well, maybe I'll give you that list soon enough.
There's
right there.
James Cameron at the El Capitan.
El Capitan, that's where the premiere was, and everybody was there in attendance right there. You've got people on the red carpet.
Those are not fake smiles at all. Those are not Hollywood simulacrums of happiness. Hell no.
Yeah, exactly right.
They're just sincere and honest appraisals of the situation.
Yes, everybody was just loving what was actually going on.
What's he wearing? Right, my God. You go to the same tailor as Josh tomorrow? I don't know. Anyway,
terrible. Well, no, people have been reacting strongly to it. Lou, do you think James Cameron's going to be able to do it thrice? And do you think that it will be so successful as to justify 4 and 5 that have been set in the schedule?
You know, there is an old saying in Hollywood that goes, is the screwing you get worth the screwing you get? And James Cameron has more money than God, and whatever amuses him, he'll do. And if it doesn't amuse him anymore, he won't. And that's the bottom line. So, I mean, the guy is a verifiable creative genius. I take nothing away from his skill. I think him doing this same thing over and over again might even be boring for him. So who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, it does. It kind of seemed to me that he was like, maybe somebody else can do 4 and 5. Like it felt
but
like he was looking to get out of it.
I didn't say that. I didn't say he'd be willing to let it go to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
I said he might be willing to say, no, we did enough of that one. And whether he's going to he's got some other idea of what he'd like to do, or whether he's going to do nothing is his, people in that level of wealth and success have choices. And it doesn't mean they're your choices. It doesn't mean they're choices of what you will aspire to. But
yeah,
I don't know.
So
I know the El Capitan's a great theater to see anything in.
Yeah. Well,
go,
I think if you're
go for the curtain show, stay for the movie. So
exactly.
Anyway,
exactly. No, it is a brilliant place right there. Love how Hollywood Boulevard getting all involved. A classic Hollywood premiere. That's good stuff. Somebody asking why is Miley Cyrus there? She does the end credit song "Dream Is One" in a similar fashion like The Weeknd.
Well, that ought to make it a hit. I mean, she's so currently a big star.
It worked for Titanic.
All about her hip joint.
I think The Weeknd did the final credit song for Avatar: The Way of Water. So I don't know. It worked for previous productions. James Cameron.
Maybe that's his final credits, unless there's a scene from the next movie happening. And if there is no next movie, will that kill the stick around for the final credits?
It's a good point.
Will the post-credit scene be, "Hey everybody, that's it. Go home.
Well,
buy the toys. Buy the toys. Go to the theme parks, but go home."
Well, speaking of wanting more, Barry the Music Man with $2. Lou, my favorite voice on YouTube, always classy.
Your favorite voice? Oh, I'm thrilled. I really am. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Barry.
Absolutely.
Barry the Music Man. My goodness.
Yeah, Barry, very much appreciate
that. You're talking a Boysen or a Raz or a Black or a Razzle? I don't know, but I like berries.
Yeah. I like berries too. But
although I have to say my favorite voice with Barry in it would probably be, even though granted, ups, down, sideways, Manilow. Did I ever tell you my Barry Manilow story?
No. You got one? No? Please.
Well, he told a very interesting story long ago, and I don't think he's ever repeated it, but I was there. Apparently when he was first starting out, and he was doing like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and all those jingles and things, he got hired to do the score for a porno film. But he never saw the film. They told him doing X minutes of this and a climax and X minutes of this and a climax. And he did it that way, totally without seeing the movie. but he knew the name of the movie. And one day, 6 months later, he's walking through New York and down in 42nd Street where all the sleazy theaters are. And lo and behold, the movie is playing. And he thinks, well, I guess I ought to go in and see it and see how my music came out. And he goes to see it. And it turns out the plot of the movie, I'm not going to scandalize anybody here, but it is late night. The plot of the movie was about a woman and her dog.
Oh, no.
Okay, so he's sitting there and he's looking around. He's feeling disgusted with himself, and he sees all these sleaze bags in this, jerkatorium of a theater. But he sees this one couple that's very, very upscale and very well dressed and very elegant. And as they walk out of the theater, he approaches them. He says, "Hi, listen, I hate to bother you, and I'm not being judgmental. I'm just curious. I'm here because, as it happens, I did the music for the movie. Can I ask why you're here?" And he said, and the woman looked at him beaming with pride and said, "That's our dog."
Oh, my goodness.
Which is less of a comment on porn and music, but it's more of a comment on dog lovers, isn't it? But he told that story once upon a time, and I don't think he's told it since, but it's a true story, apparently.
Wow.
Aren't you glad I was here tonight to share all that with you folks? This is what you come here at 11 o'clock at night on a Wednesday for. What can I say?
The chat is horrified.
Are they? Are they?
Oh, boy. But
anyway,
people are having a great time as well. So there you go.
Like a good neighbor, Fido is there.
I guess Steve Worm's there. Oh, wow. That's really something right there. Well, I mean, I guess to round out their show tonight, it's going to be a little bit shorter tonight, only because I know LW has some obligations tomorrow that I don't want to take him away from. Hopefully you enjoyed the story there, the colorful story.
People that want my wisdom, and I know you all do too, so go ahead and ask questions and post stuff.
Absolutely.
And hey, if you got nothing better to do with a whole $5, you might want to join my Patreon. It's right there under my name. And by God, I guarantee value for money. And that's all I'll say about that. What the heck? Except that I promised that Culture and I are going to do a wine show, and we are. He was under the weather for a while, but it's still coming. And you will find oodles of members. And by the way, if you're a member for free, that's going away first of the year. It's strictly going to be buy your way in. So upgrade now and avoid the rush. That's all I can say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely check out Lou's Views. It's Patreon. Best $5 you can spend a month right there. Very, very cool. I want to highlight this, though, really, really fast, Lou. I don't know what's gotten into Quentin Tarantino. I guess he might be on the road highlighting the re-release of Kill Bill in theaters, if I can surmise anyway. But I don't know. For some reason, he really went after this.
Oh, he sure did.
Particular actor, and I can't figure it out, Lou. I'm like, what is going on with Quentin Tarantino? Well, Why would you do this?
He's never been shy about sharing his opinions before.
Yeah, I guess so.
Why should he now? I mean,
he was on the Bret Easton Ellis podcast, and he said this about Paul Dano in There Will Be Blood here. So he said, quote,
well, he loved the movie except this guy's performance, and he felt like it would have been a better movie if somebody else had been there to stand up to Daniel Day-Lewis a little bit. So
obviously it's supposed to be a two-hander, but it's also drastically obvious that it's not a two-hander. Dano is weak sauce, man. He is the weak sister. Daniel Day-Lewis is eating him alive.
You're going to get into trouble here if you keep reading that quote.
I understand.
Okay.
Austin Butler would have been wonderful in that role. He's just such a weak, uninteresting guy. Daniel Day-Lewis shows that he doesn't need a strong foil. The movie needs it. He doesn't need anything. It's supposed to be a two-hander, and it's not. You put him with the weakest actor in SAG. I can't even read that. I'm not saying that he is giving a terrible performance. I'm saying that he's a non-entity performance. I don't care for him. Why? Why, Lou? Why would he say this?
He got you to read the story, didn't he?
I guess so, but it's like,
that's
holy
why.
Smokes.
That's why. Because anytime he gets mentioned, it's a good thing for him. And, that's 90% of everything. What about you just when you went by the headline, you had Miss Tyrannosaurus Arms, and she's upset too, but because nobody's looked at her lately. So these people look. I respect Quentin Tarantino a lot as a filmmaker, but why he has to chime in on every little thing? Well, he obviously felt strongly enough about it to do it, and that's who he is. That's who he is. I will say, in the defense of this guy, and I got to tell you, I never saw that movie, so I don't know. Standing up to Daniel Day-Lewis in anything is not an easy thing to do, even if you're Laurence Olivier or pick another famous great actor. So,
a lot of people having a lot of thoughts about this. A lot of people actually standing up for Paul Dano, at least in our chat right now, saying that, hey, Quentin, I don't know what's going on with that opinion, man.
And he got all of you to pay attention too, didn't he?
I guess so. It's just, man, usually in Hollywood circles, you're a little bit more, let's say, savvy about this, or you know how to navigate these waters in which you don't put anybody down, and maybe you cost roles or you cost relationships and so forth. Quentin, though, he don't give anything.
I will just say that my favorite actor named Dano is Royal, and leave it at that.
Yes, I agree with that right there. I wonder if there's a relation there. Interesting. I didn't look at this before, but Royal Dano obviously is playing, Abraham Lincoln in Great Moments of Abraham Lincoln, the audio I'm trying to show at Disneyland.
And that wonderful preacher character he played in Close Encounters, and so many more. So many more.
And New York World's Fair. Awesome stuff. And we have a little bit of jaunty music to send you out with our jukebox of the week. Lou, what do you got for us?
Well, I found somebody making symphonies out of Ennio Morricone's music, and I thought, isn't that pretty? And you want an hour and a half of something to put on in the background that'll come into your foreground more than you want it to, but will be great. Go click on that link. You'll find it fun, I think. Morricone Symphonies. And hey, if you don't like Ennio Morricone's music, you don't like this show. That's all there is to it.
Very much so. And we've covered a lot of his work before in the past, obviously having been associated with the spaghetti westerns.
But so much more. So much
more.
Yes. Go look up his oeuvre, and you will see how many different movies he's done that you knew, and you didn't know it was him, but you knew. Speaking of movies, of course, we of the genre guys keep churning them out. My God, it amazes me sometimes how many we've done and how many we continue to do. And because we have changed it still comes out once a week, both on the Pro Channel if you're a member, and here if you're not, a few months later. No aspersions being cast as to how many months. But because we've changed our schedule because of Lorne and Hangry and other people's time being so demanded these days, we're recording 2 at a time every other week. And so for some reason, we've got into a habit of making it 2 movies that kind of either complement or reflect off of each other. For example, we did Blow Up, and then we did Blow Out. And I don't know how many of you know both of those movies. I'll just tell you, Lauren hated the first one, loved the second one, and you can see them when they come up. But our next 2 are kind of interesting because they are the very first big movie that an otherwise small-time director made that set his career for making giant, epic, fantastic movies. And the second one is the last movie by a famous director before he passed away untimely. Well, untimely, he made a lot of movies. So if you want to see the first and the last, and beside them, there's a whole bunch more, then keep up with the genre guys. That's all I'll say.
Absolutely.
After that, I don't know. I never know. I suggest some, they suggest some. We come up with stuff, and so far we got a pretty good track record, except for Hangry's insistence on us doing Battlefield Earth. But I'll put that aside. Just
well, that was very interesting one to cover right there.
It wasn't as awful as I thought it would be, but it was pretty darn close.
That was a collabo with the Lost Guys, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, right. But they were lost before they were found, and all those other lyrics. and then of course Travolta, who's in that, is in Blow Out, which, if you don't know, Blow Up is about a photographer played by David Hemmings, who I didn't know till I researched it, was a boy soprano before he became an actor. Did you know that? Anyway, he's a photographer in swinging London in the 60s. And I was there in the 60s. And I forgot till I watched this movie what a grim place it was. Yeah, you had Carnaby Street, and you had the mini skirts, and you had the wild clothes and the great music. But damn, all those buildings they built after the war to take up the holes in the city were ugly. But anyway, Blow Up, which is about a photographer who's taking pictures in a park and finds out when he blows them up that there's a dead body involved and a murder and all kinds of neat stuff. And then Blow Out was Brian De Palma's tribute to it, where John Travolta is a sound effects man who's out recording an owl and whistling wind and whatever, and witnesses a car crash that when he listens to the sound, he realizes the car didn't crash on its own. Somebody shot out the tire, and the guy in the crash is a prominent politician, and the girl with him is a hooker, and one thing leads to another, and John Lithgow is the bad guy, and it's a swell picture. So there's that. There you go, Blow Out. So if you want to get ahead of the genre guys, you could watch those movies, but if you want to wait for us, we'll be along shortly.
Absolutely. Very, very, very cool stuff. I really appreciate your guys' picks, highlighting movies that may have been, not huge box office pushers, but not lost to time.
It always amazes me when I pick one or the other guys pick one that some of us haven't seen. For example, Lauren had a couple that were really great. The documentary about Drew Struzan, the artist who did all the great posters. I didn't know about that. And he did one called The 13th Floor, which is kind of The Matrix's evil twin. And I didn't know about that. It's a great movie. So there's a lot of movies that even I, old man of the movies, have not seen or even heard of until I find them because the other guys suggest them. So if you'd like to broaden your perspectives on movies, by God, stick with us on the genre guys.
Absolutely. Let's see here. Sean, formerly the artist noticed. John, highlighter 2 for genre guys. Lou, it's going to happen eventually.
You're not talking to the guy that matters. You have to talk to Lauren, and you will, and you do eventually, and he still won't do it. So I like the original Highlander. The others, the TV series better, but I'm looking forward to the new one. with Henry Cavill, and that should be fun. But the main thing about Highlander, the original, was of course the guy who directed it, Mulcahy, who had he had a vision, didn't he? All those lights exploding on that rooftop, and he knew how to put on the show, as they say.
Absolutely. They brought women. Unfortunately, not nowadays, Vash. Hollywood is sorely lacking class. Yeah, that's a good point right there.
Most of it. I'm being interviewed by a journalist this week about the future of Hollywood and is Hollywood dead? And it's all how you look at it. And the answer is, if they stop pleasing audiences, they don't sell tickets. And so they better start thinking about that. A lot of these people are brought up to think that tickets don't matter and audiences don't matter. And they're wrong. Let's just put it that way. They're dead wrong.
And people are watching. They're still watching content. They're still watching even movies or even TV shows. It's just maybe.
Well, I thought it was interesting. Somebody said, well, Zootopia 2 is going to obviously be the front runner for best animated film at the Oscars. And they talked about how the Chinese embraced it. And Pro's theory is they scrubbed all the stuff the Chinese wouldn't like out of it to get them to do that. But the other thing you have to think about with the Chinese market is all the other animated films that are of prominence and skill are out of Japan, and the Chinese hate the Japanese and vice versa. So there's a political undertone to all of that we should not ignore.
Absolutely. That's a really, really good point right there. Let's see here. Daniel, doing my best to support you guys. Send your links to family and friends. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate that. And hi, boy, coming in here. I think this might end up being a good home slot for this show. Give it more deserved attention. That's the intention right there. So hopefully you enjoy this new slot.
We know all of you regulars have been watching us, and we appreciate you, but we want you to spread it out to the world even more because, hey, you're doing people a favor if they're into this, and if they're not, they won't watch it anyway. So the heck with them.
Well, there you go, right there.
That's the way I look at it. We do what we do here, and we talk about what we talk about, and if it's your thing, you're going to love it, and if it isn't, you're going to look somewhere else. And hey, that's cool too. That's
fair
cool
enough. Well, we want to go ahead and thank every single one of you for watching this show right here and for sticking with us past the Pro Show. Very much appreciate that. If you like what you are seeing right now, hey, we'll go ahead and hit that subscribe button right there. We've got a lot of great content coming your way, especially from this channel, not the least of which being Genre Guys, Lost Guys, and Hollywood Backlot with Lou and you, and maybe a new show on the horizon. Oh, I can't wait.
Ooh, a new show.
A brand new program for you to enjoy.
Ooh,
it's going to be a lot of fun right there.
Film at 11.
Indeed. Yeah, exactly.
In this case, literally.
And keep in mind that we have, what is it? I think we're supposed to have a morning magic on it every single Wednesday and Tuesday. We might not have it tomorrow, but that'll be part of the regular schedule right there. I think we want Lauren to take it to be involved in that part place even more so than he already is. That's going to be really, really cool. Extra magic hours on Friday at noon Eastern. And I think that's just
everybody out there, how I came to this whole craziness was because I saw what the guys were doing and what Pro was doing. And it was during the whole thing with the strikes and the negotiations. And I said, would you like somebody who actually knows what happens behind the scenes to help you? And unlike other people who patted me on the head and said, go away, these guys actually gave a damn. And so I got to know all of you. And every time I think of Vash and Pro and Lorne and everybody, I'm always brought to mind that scene from Star Trek where he says, your friends are people of good character, Serac says. And Spock says, well, they are my friends. And so these people, I mean, for me at my stage of life, which is old, to have come across a whole new gang of wonderful folks, and all of you out there in the chat who pay attention is a gratifying and fun thing. And what the hell else would I do with my days besides just make my wife laugh a lot, generally enjoy life. So, and if you'd like, again, insights into things we don't cover here, whether it's food or politics or anything else, there's the Patreon, which is why I started it, so I could branch out from these topics, because damn, I know a lot of stuff beyond all this stuff. But either way, I'm all about the game behind the game, as I've said a couple of times in there. And when you understand the game behind the game, it doesn't matter if it's showbiz or politics or business or your job, you will live a more fulfilling life, because you'll know where the bodies are buried and how much shoveling it takes to get to them. I'm rambling. I'll stop, but you get the idea.
I think we get the idea very, very well, Lou. And we really couldn't do so much of what we do without you. So thank you so much, Lou, for jumping on board right there. And hey, you jump on board. Lou's Patreon right there. Best $5 you'll ever spend. All right, we gotta get out of here. Thank you so much for watching Hello Backlot with Lou and you. We'll see you next Wednesday at 11 p.m. Eastern. Thanks, guys.